All right, welcome to another edition of the Garden Report. He's Bob Ryan. I'm Jeff Goodman. And I said some things, Bob, last week that caught fire a little bit on EI. I think I was asked about Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum's friendship/relationship. And I said, listen, they're not buddies. They don't hang out together a lot off the court. They're friends. They're friendly. But I said, look at Bird and McHale. They weren't buddies. They weren't hanging out. In fact, I don't know. Did they really like each other that much, Bob? But they were pretty damn good on the court.
They're Exhibit A of this whole discussion we're having here. They were very 100% mutually admirable on professional level. Their basketball games, talents meshed. They both appreciated the other. They both appreciated that ultimately those rings wouldn't have been placed on either of their hands without the other, and no question. Right, they weren't necessarily buddy, and I'm reasonably sure. I'm 8 on a scale of 10 sure that it pissed off Kevin whenever Larry would say, Kevin, some year he should come in and want to be the MVP, or he could be the MVP. Yep. The inference being he didn't work hard enough, or wasn't as completely maniacally dedicated as Larry was. And I'm sure, Kevin's answer and this with all those unparalleled moves, those moves that have not been replaced in the last 28 years since he retired, they didn't fall out of the sky. Somebody had to put the work in to develop those moves and develop his game. And it's true. That's exactly true. They just were different personalities. Larry didn't understand how Kevin could be laughing and joking until they threw the ball up. And
no game face. And
I think Kevin felt Larry needed to get a life a little bit at times. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And that's who they were. But they didn't have fist fights. They didn't have arguments.
Where was Parrish aligned?
On his own
Switzerland
platform. Yep. Absolutely. He was Switzerland. He had his own niche, his own aura of respectability. He didn't get involved in this, at all. The Chief just ran the floor, posted up,
say a word.
Put his hand up, blocked his shot.
So did you see instances with like Bird and McHale, like either behind closed, like in the locker room? Did you see some of the friction or not really? Did you see
itself, certainly on the floor. I never saw Larry make a face or vice versa, because not really. I knew him, so I just knew Larry obviously better than Kevin, but I certainly knew Kevin, and enough about Kevin. But you knew, but you're right about hanging out, kind of thing. Larry gravitated to the subs guys more. He was, the guys like Brad Lowhouse, Carlisle when he came up. Brad Lowhouse. When I did the book with Larry in the summer of '87, I spent a week in French Lick at his house doing the interviews that were the basis for the book. Yeah. And we had Brad Lowhouse showed up, we'd swim in the pool. Yeah. I think Carlisle may have showed up, but he liked
the grinders. He liked the grinders, didn't he?
Yes. I'm trying to, what's his name? The backup center, having a senior moment. Yes.
Roby?
No. Oh no. Roby. They were roommates when they had roommates.
Super
and
close.
Larry was kidding when they traded Roby. He said, if they hadn't traded Roby, I never would have been an MVP. Roby, they were drinking buddies.
Right.
And Roby was basically the shield for Larry, like he would answer the phone. And,
really?
and Larry's social secretary, or he'd figure out who he wanted to talk to and didn't. No, Roby and Larry were friendly.
So let's flip it back to Jaylen and Jayson, and let me clarify something.
I'm sorry. Eric Bernstein was another guy that Larry adopted.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not saying they're not friends. I'm just saying they're not drinking buddies. They're not hanging out every night.
And as long as we need them.
And I feel like if they were, maybe it would help the chemistry on the court too. Maybe it wouldn't matter. But I always feel like, hey, the closer you are, and that's why I keep saying Bradley Beal, because I know Tatum and Beal are so close.
Yeah.
I do think, especially in today's NBA, it does matter. Well,
I was going to say, I was thinking, I'm not there every day now, so I must take your word for that. Because I was thinking back, the Knicks, and they were like separate empires that got together at 7:30, in the Garden to make basketball magic. All right, but Willis was his own man, Clyde was his own man, DeBusschere was his own man, Bradley, Dick Barnett. Oh my God, Earl the Pearl. They all had their little, they were the empire. And that's
I bet Draymond isn't hanging out with Steph or Clay.
And that's what Larry and Kevin were, separate, not rival, but parallel empires, with their own.
But they played off each other.
Oh,
that's what I'm saying. That's the difference here is, Draymond and Steph and Clay look like they love playing together. They move the basketball. My whole deal isn't necessarily they got to be boys off the court. My deal is more focused on the court. That I felt like this past year, it looked like Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum were playing together for the first time.
Yeah, I know. And you were completely correct. And it's got to change. Just to amplify what you're saying, Bird missed that year, almost the whole year. It's 78, 79, 79, 80 with the heels, and, he wrenched both heels. So he comes back the next year, and one of the very first exhibition games was in Worcester. And I'll never forget, he goes down, and after the game was over, Kevin says, I almost forgot how incredible it was to get those entry passes. That Larry completely reopened up Kevin's game as only he could. And
he got him the ball exactly where he needed it.
Exactly. And
think about that lost art, right? Like, you need a guy, especially from Larry's position. Think of how valuable that was, because DJ wasn't the greatest passer. Danny wasn't the greatest passer. You had a guy at a spot on the floor that was the elite passer, maybe in the NBA, other than like you said, Magic Bird, whatever you want to say. And he could get him the ball, low post entry pass, not just get it to him, but get it to him exactly where he needed.
It was a great, and the individual chemistries he had, he and DJ had an incredible little sub game going on, in which DJ knew when to hit Larry when make this baseline. DJ would make a pass from half court, and Larry would make a baseline cut. I mean, stuff you're never going to see again. You're never going to see. And then, of course, we won't even talk about Larry and Walton, because that was criminal. That wasn't fair. When they played against the backup center, it was like, this is like cruel and unusual punishment. They were
it's like a video game.
Yeah, but anyway, no, you're right. That's what we're.
I just want to see Udoka. I want to see Ime Udoka find a way to get these guys. And it's funny because they came up together and they were coached by Micah Shrewsbury, who's now left, and he's the head coach at Penn State this year. But he worked out both of them, and they worked out together every day. So it's not like they weren't friendly. Again, they are friends. They're just not boys. Yeah. And I think part of it is Jayson Tatum's not a guy who's going out partying. He's got a kid. Deuce. He's got Deuce. Right.
The whole world knows about that relationship. So, but they got to find a way to mesh on the court better.
Yeah, they got to find a way to get that chemistry. And that is probably Ime Udoka's maybe most important task.
Very possibly, because, right, I agree. I think I'll say definitely.
All right, there you have it. Garden Report, Bob, Ryan, Jeff Goodman. We'll see you next week.
Hi guys, Cedric Maxwell here. I want to take a minute to tell you about Marigold Medical. I'm used to keeping my body in great shape, but with arthritis, even the most simple everyday tasks became unbearable. As soon as I called Marigold Medical, I knew I was in good hands. No drugs, no surgery, just an experienced team of caring professionals that wanted to get me back to doing the things I love. Make the call to Marigold Medical and get back to pain-free life.